The next game that we will go to is Texas and Vandy. And Texas won this game 34-31. And on paper, this looks like a close game. It wasn't at all. Texas jumped out early to a 17-0 lead. And they really was no coming back for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's not programmed to play from behind. If you looked at their two previous wins against LSU and Mizzou, they didn't trail past halfway through the second quarter at all. They were scrambling. Ryan Wingo took the first play from scrimmage, 75 yards to the house. I'm sure Arch Manning appreciated the stat pad. Arch Manning ended up having a great game, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. So props to Arch Manning. I think the best word to describe his performance is comfortable and composed. I know that's 2 words. Sue me. He looked really comfortable. I remember my counterpart Anch in the first week of the season. He'd even mentioned it in the recent NFL podcast that Arch didn't look comfortable at making simple throws. He did this week. I think it shows a lot of growth under Sark. He's not NFL ready this year, but 2027, yeah, you bet your ass that he'll be a top pick. And so Arch looked great. Pavia looked great as well towards the end of the game. Obviously, coming down from a 17-0 hole is not easy, but he was responsible for all 4 touchdowns, 3 in the air, 1 on the ground. 21 of these points came in the fourth quarter. Very much too little, too late for Vanderbilt. They ran out of time. I don't really know how they got an extra 2 points. That 2-point conversion at the end, in my opinion, was not good. And there was no clear angle to show that it was. I don't know what the SEC headquarters saw with that. Maybe they're like, hey, let's get a little parity and Texas will still win anyway. I don't know. It's fun. I mean, they almost had an onside kick at the end and they could have had a field goal to tie the game from Brock Taylor. But I don't really know what happened there. It was definitely an officiating meltdown, headquarters meltdown. Yeah, so the score really should have been 34-29 in my opinion. But it wasn't. It was a close game. I think Eli Stowers was brilliant for Vanderbilt. 130 yards, I believe, and a touchdown. 2 touchdowns, excuse me. 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's solidified himself as a top tight end in this draft. He has tons of great catches. He's a good route runner, decent at blocking, and all around an explosive playmaker for Vanderbilt. He's been great for them the last 2 years when he's really shown his talent. And I think he had another great performance against Texas, and it's a name to look out for against Tennessee and if they potentially make the playoffs. Do they have a chance at the playoffs? I think they do. Now, they don't really have the tiebreaker against Texas anymore, but Texas is prone to a couple more losses. Vanderbilt could very much well finish the season 10-2. They have their last difficult game is at Tennessee to close it off. They have Kentucky and Auburn as their next 2 games. I think that Vanderbilt could win at Neyland. We've seen that Neyland, Tennessee can't really win there. With Texas, they still have Georgia and A&M. Those are 2 huge games. If they win that, they 100% be in the playoffs. I don't know what that means for the SEC championship game. I know that means A&M would have a loss and Texas would have the tiebreaker, and Georgia would have 2 losses, so they could play Bama on that. That's definitely a playoff team if they go 10-2 or potentially even 11-2. But will they? Probably not. Playing at Georgia is not easy. They do host A&M, which makes their a little easier playing at DRK or DKR. I'm sorry to the Texas fans. I don't remember the initials of your stadium. But we'll see. And that could mean that Oklahoma would be in there, but they'll get killed by Bama soon. So don't really see that for them. But could be exciting. Who knows? They both have to win out. Like I said, maybe. It would be a lot of fun if they do. I don't think they will. But it would be a lot of fun. I'd like to see it. You'd probably have 6 SEC teams. You'd have Georgia, A&M, Texas, Vandy, Bama, and Ole Miss. We're going to fiat that Oklahoma beats Mizzou and loses to Bama, so both teams would end up having 3 losses there. Otherwise, you might have a real issue where you might need 7 teams, and then you're really cramped. And then if you have the 6 team, if you have the 6 SEC teams, then you have the Big 12 ACC Group of 5, and then the 3 Big 10 teams in Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State. Notre Dame, in my opinion, should not make it then. If you have all of these 10-2 teams in the SEC, that's way better than a 10-2 Notre Dame team, especially by playing no one and losing to some of those SEC teams, and now a worse off Miami. That would be a lot of fun is if we had all of those teams. I remember when I started doing these episodes, I came in with the mindset that I wouldn't really have SEC bias. But when you end up looking at which teams are most notable and which games are most exciting and which teams just generate the most to talk about, you find that it is the SEC. So I'm all for the SEC putting 6 teams in, maybe even 7 if you want like 6 or 7 teams. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I think that would be really fantastic. It would provide for a lot more exciting playoffs. I think a lot of those teams could have upsets on the road. One of them would host the Big 12 team, one of them would host the ACC team, and I think it would provide for a lot of excitement.